and I thank you very much for joining us today. As somebody who lives in a seasonal area out on the South Shore, South Fork of Long Island, and my colleague Ree Wackett, who covers a lot of the North Fork of Long Island, we got together, we pooled our heads together and decided to put together a workshop specifically for businesses that deal with that area or any seasonal area. It doesn't have to be Long Island, but if you're the type of business that increases dramatically during the spring, summer, and maybe even the fall, like the North Fork does, it's a little bit different dynamic going on. You have an influx of people, you have an influx of money coming in, and that money usually has to last for the entire year. So it's a little more challenging to budget that and also to manage staffing and whatnot as time goes on. So we're going to talk a little bit about the different areas. The best way to manage a seasonal business is by planning ahead. If you know what your busy season is going to be, then you can take the necessary steps, such as hiring additional staff, expanding inventory, setting goals, and mitigating the risk of burnout, which is pretty common sometimes during the busy times. Small businesses know that seasonal fluctuations can seriously impact them, and they need to build resilience into their business model. And here at the Small Business Development Center, we're all about the planning and the strategy and trying to make people aware. Planning is not a sexy thing, right? It's like, oh gosh, planning, I hate planning, but it helps. It helps mitigate a lot of the stress that you may be under when you get underway, and during the busy season is not the time to plan. Now is the time to plan. So in the off season, we call it the start, stop, or continue exercise. So if you have the benefit of prior years as a business, which as opposed to a complete startup, what you want to start doing is going back to your prior year and look at things that maybe you remember didn't work and maybe you should do differently due to your performance last season. What should you actually stop doing altogether and was not profitable and did not make sense? And what should you continue doing? So if you can just remember, what should we start doing? What should we stop doing? And maybe what should we continue doing that worked very well? So you want to look at your customer database. Do you have one? Do you know who your customers are? Every single person that comes to your business is getting an experience. And to make them feel valued and appreciated, you want to collect just some basic information. What's their name, maybe an email address, which you could use to then send them promotional information or specials or activities that are going on with your business that they may want to know about. A lot of people used to really resist giving that information, but not so much anymore, because a lot of people realize, I would like to know if you're having a special occasion going on, if you're a restaurant and you have a special menu, maybe a special price fix menu that you want to make people aware of. It's kind of nice to get that. They can always delete it if they're not interested, but this gives you power over the people that are coming to your business, as well as repeating that business over time. You also want to adjust your training process to include those new strategies that you discovered during your start, stop, and continue exercise. I recommend doing that with your staff if they are available. You could also do it at the end of your season, write down things that went well and discuss them now before you start up again. Consider ordering new equipment if you need it and refresh your space. Refreshing space could be a paint job in the area that people are seeing the most of if you happen to be a retailer. Look at pricing, know what your competitors are offering and see where you stand with them. Cheap always comes at a price. So if you offer a lot of value for the price that you're charging, don't be afraid of that. Just make sure that people feel that sense of value that they're getting for the money that you're charging. Update your marketing materials. This is my big bone of contention. Like I go to a retailer and their hours are posted and it's not the hours that they said that they were going to be open. So now I'm sitting in the parking lot waiting because online it said they opened at 9 and then I get there and it says they open at 10. I recently did a podcast about this topic and somebody said there that they went to the hours and it said 10-ish to 5-ish, which is really kind of not respectful for the people that are trying to get to something at a particular time. So be very specific, make that commitment to your days and times, post it on your website, post it on your Google My Business page, and certainly if you're a retailer, post it on your retail store so that people can see it and know when you're open and closed. I would also, just one more thing, make sure you know when your customers' best time is to visit you. For example, a home improvement store that caters to people who are redoing kitchens or baths or selling products to people that are going to use for their home need to be open at times when people aren't working. And if you're working Monday to Friday, you want to be open Saturday and Sunday, or at least Saturday. So make sure that your open days and times are what your customers want and not necessarily what's convenient for you. So that's, your customer is king when you have a business. Pay attention to details, your signage, the cleanliness of what you're offering. If you have a dress code, maybe your dress code is specific, like a restaurant, everybody's in black or everybody's got a certain logo on. Or it could just be, listen, there are certain things that we don't do here, and make sure your employees are aware of them if you're trying to get a certain vibe out there. That's part of your brand. The way people appear and how they go to your clients is very, very important. And always check for online reviews, address poor feedback immediately. There's nothing worse than having poor feedback unaddressed. So if somebody puts poor feedback out there, there's lots of ways to respond. And by the way, you can go on Google and they'll tell you some good ways to address poor feedback. That's a whole nother workshop entirely. But the most important thing is to check it and certainly appreciate the people that say nice things about you. And the people that say poor feedback, just express concern. Say, please give us a call. We'd like to talk about your experience. It's very important to us. We don't remember serving you. Maybe sometimes that's it. But I know that's something that through the last few years has really become important because everybody goes online and checks you out. I don't care what you sell or what you do, they're looking at you online. So make sure you Google yourself and see what they're saying about you and make sure it's hopefully good. And if you have a customer or a client that says something good about you to your face, say, hey, if you don't mind sharing that online, that would be very helpful and we'd really appreciate it. So don't be shy about asking for the good feedback, which is really important. I'm going to talk about the really exciting part of the presentation, which is cash flow, which we call the lifeblood of the business. Why? Because without cash flow, you're going to struggle and it's going to be difficult when you get into your full season. So it's really important. I don't think you have to be an accountant to do this, okay? When you have your personal life, you know that there's a certain amount of money that comes in and certain amount of money that goes out. It would be to your benefit to sit down and say, hey, we're taking in $5,000 a month and we're expending $6,000 a month. So somewhere we have to cut $1,000 to at least break even. That's all it is in business as well. How much money is coming in? How much money is going out? How can I minimize some of these expenses and eliminate unnecessary costs? How do I expand sales into my slower periods? Even a seasonal business, I'll see some of them close on Sunday and Monday or Monday and Tuesday because they know that's their slow period. But sometimes the morning is slow or the afternoon is slow. That's when you can throw in little specials or teasers, and that's where their customer database comes in too. So, it's funny when you go out for the early bird specials at restaurants and you see people all there It's popular because people like to go when they feel they're getting more value for their money. So it's great for you to put those kind of specials during your slow periods. Payment plans, offer monthly payment plans if you're in a business that can do that to create a recurring year-round income. You'll see that with the oil companies, sometimes even pool maintenance, because there's an opening of the pool, maintaining of the pool, closing of the pool. Sometimes they'll spread it over the whole year. It's something that could be offered in many cases. I'm even seeing movie theaters doing payment plans. What are they doing? They're asking for a certain amount every month, and you can see all the movies you want. Not bad, right? If you have the time. So it's a smart move to kind of spread out your revenue. So it's not all bunched up at one time. It comes throughout the year. Most important, what's your budget? What can you spend every month? And can you stick to it? I tell this story all the time. When I was young, my husband and I were married very young, and we had a home finance calendar from Hallmark. I know it's old school, definitely. But we used to write down everything that we spent every day. We were like really green. We didn't know what the heck we were doing. But what it did was bring awareness to what was going out the door every day. And not that we didn't spend money, but we knew really kind of the parameters of what we could do. And it trained us. We did that actually for 15 years. And it really made a difference in our lives, just understanding how that money is coming in, how it's going out. And with a business, that is your baby. That baby has to grow up and live on its own without you. Hopefully, that's the goal. One day that you don't have to worry about it so much. It kind of runs itself because you've taken the time to put that effort into knowing your cash flow and how important it is. I'm going to go really quickly right now over a profit and loss statement and then dig in a little bit deeper so you understand this. This is a very basic profit and loss statement. The revenue is coming in from two sources, sales and services. What's the difference? Sales is like a product, and services is something that your employees are actually doing, like repair services, something like that. The sales would be the actual machine, and the service would be maintaining that machine, right? So you see a total revenue, and every profit and loss statement has this at the top. That's the top line. Top line number is $14,180 for the month of April. Then the expenses, the fixed expenses, your rent is fixed. You can't change that. Electricity could be fixed. If you get on a budget plan, you will know exactly what that is. Your internet could be fixed, could be on a budget plan, or it could vary depending on the year. Phone, again, depends on usage, but sometimes that's a fixed cost. If you have a marketing service, many marketers do put you on a monthly plan because it's a smart thing to do. It spreads out the expense throughout the year. And web hosting, we all know we need that web hosting. So this is a very basic business, and the total expenses are $3,302, and they have a nice healthy profit of $10,878. So you want to look at your revenue first. Why did your sales go up or down? What were the sources of income? And that can change throughout the year, which we're going to see in a few minutes. And then you want to rank your sales by product, service, and cost of goods sold, which is COGS. You'll see that term on financial statements. That is the direct cost of whatever you're selling. So if I sell jewelry, it's the cost of that jewelry, and then I have a markup over that, right? So the cost of goods sold is what it costs me to buy it to sell, okay, or to have it to service. Any changes in monthly operating expenses, you want to look at that net income, that profit and loss line on the bottom. Is it positive or negative? Consider the impact of bulk inventory purchases. Can it makes sense to buy things in bulk, to go to a BJ's or a Costco and buy in bulk if you know you're going to use it all summer long. Things like toilet paper and things that don't go bad, as they say, that have no shelf life. Those are good usually for bulk inventory as long as you have the storage capacity. Is there anything you can cut back on? is there room to start paying for an app or some sort of an online program that would make your life easier? Many of our clients have online bookkeeping programs like QuickBooks, where you're putting the information in and it's organizing it for you at the end of a month in this kind of a format. It even does charts and graphs to show you the change from month to month, which is very helpful. Knowing how much you're making and spending each month is absolutely essential for your business's health. I hope you can see this. It's kind of small print, but I'm going to read through it for you. So we're looking at a pool company. This is a seasonal business. In April, right now, in the spring, they're putting pools in the ground. So this business took in $180,000. 90% of their total revenue came from new installations of pools. Of course, there's supplies that go along with those pools. And we all, if you've ever had a pool, there's lots of chemicals and things like that. But when you're installing a pool, there's supplies that go into that as well. So that was 8% of their revenue came from supplies. And then there was some maintenance involved. They got calls from people that were checking on their existing pool, wanting to get it done. Maybe there were some repairs that needed to be done. So just a small amount was also for maintenance. So their total revenue was $200,178. Remember that COGS that I was talking about before, which is cost of goods sold. So to install the pools, the cement, the grids, the steps, the things that they buy to put the pool in the ground cost them about half of what the price of the installation was. So it's costing them $90,000. They're charging their customer in total, all their customers, $180,000. So the markup is 50% on that. For supplies, it's costing them $4,700 or 30% of their revenue to have supplies, which are priced at $15,678. You can see the markup there. So the total cost of goods sold, the direct cost of doing their business was $110,000 or 55% of their revenue. And they had a gross profit. Gross means before the regular ordinary expenses. So that was $90,000 or 45% of their revenue was profit. Then we go into the actual fixed costs, and some are variable, but your owner's salary, let's say you're taking $4,200, you need that money to run your business. So, to run your personal life, I should say. So you're taking that draw from the business in the form of a salary. Then you have your staff, which is $2,500. You have some temporary workers that come on for $400 and payroll taxes of $543. You have some legal expenses. That could be contracts that you have made up for your pool installations. You have a marketing expense, you have insurance, office supplies, your software fee, and maybe fuel for the trucks that go out for some of the maintenance that you're doing. So your total monthly expenses were $9,533, with a net income bringing it down now from the gross profit to the net income, which is also a profit in this case of $80,467, or 40% of your revenue is your net income. We always review the sources of income, so that was important. We look for the fluctuations. In a minute, I'll show you how that works from month to month. And how does this impact the need for inventory or increased staffing? So since my revenue sources this month were in installations, I'm assuming I am getting excavators and masonry people and cement things and people doing that kind of work. Next month, maybe I'll be switching to a different type of revenue source, and we'll talk about that. And you'll see that the type of staffing could change from month to month. The cost of goods sold, we noticed, varies with the source of the revenue, and the gross profit could be the same or different when the source of the revenue changes. Why is that? Because you see that the cost of goods sold is a different percentage of what it costs to sell the product. So that could change, and that may impact your gross profit. And then your net income, those are the things, some of them are fixed and you can't help they're there. And some of them are variable that you can look at changing. What adjustments can be made to these expenses? Are there unexpected expenses? Did something come up that you had to spend on that you didn't expect? How will you adjust going forward? And what would be the difference if the net income was negative? What do you have to think? What thought process, what mindset do you go into the next month? How can you pivot to more money coming in, or maybe more of a markup? Maybe your pricing isn't good. You could look at your competitors and say, I'm not charging enough to cover all of my expenses. These are adjustments that you want to make. So the important thing I would say, if you're looking at this and going, oh, I can't look at these numbers, you have to just look at the income statement, the profit and loss. What's coming in, what's going out, and how will that impact my next month? And that's very important on a seasonal business because it does change very rapidly from the spring to the summer busy months. So let's look at two side by side. Here's April and the one we just discussed. And now we're into May. And what do I notice here? Month to month, my revenue went down. I was making 200,000 and now I'm making 124,000. What changed? My installations went down. I have those pools in the ground now, so those are starting to go down. I only had 62,000 of total revenue that was for installations, but look what went up, the supplies, because now people are looking to open pools, get pools ready. I have to now increase my supplies, and my maintenance services have gone up dramatically. So now my supplies are 38% of revenue and my maintenance is 14% of revenue. So that's just something to observe at this point. This may be a normal year for this pool company, but they know that this is going to happen and they're starting to think, I need more people to do the maintenance services. So that may impact my labor. My supplies is going to impact my inventory and the types of things that I'm buying. So we look again at cost of goods sold. Now you can see that the installs, again, 50% of the total has gone down to 31,000. And my supplies have gone up because my supplies are 30% of what it's charging. So that has gone up. I'm building up my inventory. My cost of goods sold is is lower, but a higher percentage of total revenue because of those supplies. But oddly enough, my gross profit is actually the same. It's at $90,000. But you can see there are some moving parts there that just be aware of them because they're impacting the way your business does business. So my salary, my staff salaries, my temp salaries have gone up because now I'm starting to do more maintenance. So I need to bring on more people to go out to these pools and do whatever repairs. My payroll taxes went up a little bit because of the increase in staff. Legal fees are the same. Marketing is the same. My insurance is on a monthly plan. I'm good with that. Office supplies the same. Software the same. And my fuel has gone up because now I'm going out to individual residences and doing maintenance on their pools, getting them ready for the summer season. So that's starting to climb up. So my total expenses has actually gone up from $9,533 to $12,575. And now I see that my net income is a little lower. It's actually 62% of total revenue because the revenue has gone down. So my expenses increased and my net income decreased. Again, you're not an accountant. I don't expect you to do anything with this, but just look at it. And monthly, has to be monthly. Don't wait until the end of the year to look at the entire year, because this is how you're going to be able to tweak things from month to month and get a handle on what things are doing and celebrate. If you did something good and now your net income is getting better and you have more money to invest in those off-season months, which is very important. Remember that if you're a seasonal business, maybe 6 months of the year, you've got increasing income. And then the rest of the year, we're going to talk about some strategies, but you can expect that your business will not be at the level it is during the season. My colleague Ree is going to talk about diversifying products and services, but I'll take any questions if there are any before we get into that.
We don't have any questions right now.
Okay, perfect. Ree, I'm going to let you take it away.
Willa, thank you so much. I just wanted to make a comment about what Willa just went over with looking at the financial statements and the cash flow. And I know she mentioned that you're not necessarily accountants, but it is something that's very important for you to look at. And we can look at these with you. You can bring them in. You can bring in your sheets. It doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be in QuickBooks. If it is, great. If it's not, if you just have a general ledger, if it's on a piece of paper, we can help you make sense of these numbers. And we do it often. Okay, so diversing products and services. So we've talked a lot about, especially since the pandemic, you've heard about pivoting, the word pivot. So looking into perhaps adjacent markets that you may not have been into. So whereas your primary market, looking at the sort of examples we have on the page here, maybe landscaping, garden center, ice cream, and restaurants, landscaping company may offer in the colder months, snow removal, holiday decor. A garden center may offer wellness and art and special events. A garden center out near me, Three Village area, offers like a winter wonderland where people can come in and walk through, and they'll do like a hot cocoa station and they'll do s'mores. Just bear in mind, if you break into a new marketplace, you may also have to look at any potential license or permits that may be required as a result, and we're here to help you with that as well. For ice cream, you have ice cream stores that'll offer baked goods, soups, and chilies, mostly to go. Whereas, in the warmer months, it might be ice cream. In the colder months, you're looking at something that's going to keep you warm. Restaurants, you're not necessarily pivoting. You're in the same marketplace, but you may be offering, different types of promotions because the population or the traffic that you're getting is not exactly the same as it is in your high season now that you're in a shoulder season or a slower season. So you may have reward cards, price fix specials to kind of drive more traffic into your shop. So for the best practices, you want to check in with your customers. You can do this a few ways. A lot of businesses like to do e-newsletters to check in. You want to keep your clients at the forefront of your mind, and you want them to be at the forefront. You want to be at the forefront of their mind as well. If I think I don't have control of the slide, so if we could just go back to the last one, thanks, just for a second. You can also offer gift cards. You can offer them at a discounted rate if you purchase them at the end of the busy season, going into the slower season, to kind of help. Willa was talking a lot about cash flow, to kind of keep cash flowing sort of steadily instead of going in like dribs and drabs. So again, it's all about making sure that your clients don't forget you in the slower season. So if you diversify and go into a adjacent market or a totally new market, or if you stay within the same market, that you have ways to keep cash flow robust. Okay, you can go on to the next one. Thank you. So hiring. So seasonal businesses, you don't have consistent sort of payroll. You don't have consistent people on your staff. Your staff is going to ebb and flow. So you want to make sure that you keep your hiring demands in mind as you go into that slower season. So you're not going to maintain, like when Willa showed us the pool company, she showed like initially for like the installations, it was sort of a steady stream of people that they had working for them, and then they had kind of temporary or seasonal employees. So you want to keep in mind that the way you're going to hire the seasonal employees is going to be different than the way you hire permanent employees. Seasonal employees may be folks that are in school during the year, whether it's college or high school, but a population a lot of folks overlook, and you'll see the hyperlink for AARP are retirees. They may have had a wealth of experience in the industry that you're in, or maybe they're looking to break into it and to do something new. So never overlook folks that are retired, because sometimes they can be, your best and most consistent employees because they've been in the workforce for so long. And for the younger folks that are coming into it, this may be their first job. You may be for their first employer. So, they could be eager to learn and eager to work. So make sure you don't overlook them as well. And there's hyperlinks for the Suffolk County Department of Labor, as well as the New York State Department of Labor. But another site that I want folks to bear in mind is your local job boards. And these can often be found on your Patch boards. Patch is a local online newspaper or newsletter. And within that, it would be local, hyper local to your area, whether it's Three Village area or the Hamptons or the North Fork or Riverhead, Patchogue, whatever the case may be. Look into your hyper local boards, because that's where you can find people in your immediate marketplace. So don't overlook those. Okay, the next one. Okay, strategies for hiring, recruiting seasonal employees. The first one, I cannot stress enough. I've seen over and over again with seasonal businesses where they will just recycle the descriptions for their jobs year to year. So the thing that's bad about that is there could be typos in it, there could be inaccuracies in it, and your business is going to grow and evolve from year to year. So your job descriptions, or you may have completely new jobs that you may have not had the season before, those are going to grow, evolve, along, with your business. So as the business grows and evolves, the descriptions and the jobs should grow and evolve as well. Sourcing candidates who only want seasonal work, be really specific here about the hours, the days, when the season starts, that, you need these employees from Memorial Day to Labor Day. You need this number of days a week. So there's no confusion and there's no unpleasant conversations. When people find out, oh my gosh, my job is ending. Yes, remember when you were hired, and put it in writing. Dedicate sources to successful onboarding and training. Have a specific person or people train your employees, whether that's you, whether that's a key employee, and have a manual. And when I say manual, it doesn't have to be a thick book or anything like that. It has to just be something that's written that your employee can refer to. So they're not making any assumptions about their roles, their tasks, about what their standard operating procedures may be with what's going on in your business. So don't have people assume everything, put it in writing, and have a dedicated person train your employees. Hire for attitude as much as aptitude. You could have somebody with a wealth of experience that may be very poor at sales, or may be very poor at interacting with people. Or you may have somebody that maybe doesn't need to interact with people. Maybe you don't want that person to be chatty and be talking all the time. You want to make sure they can maintain focus on the task at hand. So, the attitude as much as aptitude, but it has to be appropriate to the job. And make sure they're dependable. Check their references if they have any, if they've worked before. Give preference to same time next year candidates. With seasonal businesses, you tend to see the same faces. And when you see the same faces, I'm sure, with seasonal businesses that I patronize, I'll see kind of the same people, and I look forward to seeing them. And that continuity and familiarity, is great. It's part of your branding. And it's great for the customers to see, oh yeah, I saw Ree last year. She sold me those flowers. She helped me pick out those flowers for my garden. And then I'll look forward to seeing her next year. So, and it's in addition to consistency for your clients or your marketplace, it's good to show loyalty to people who come back year to year and show loyalty to you. And they will end up being some of your best employees, because you don't have to train new people over and over. They're there and they're ready to go. Don't cut corners. Put them in your regular HR platform. Again, this is going back to however you're going to maintain your expenses. Again, whether that's QuickBooks, whether it's a ledger, make sure you account for every person. And if you have trouble with figuring out, okay, well, how do I know if this is an employee versus a 1099? How do I keep track of my permanent versus my seasonal employees? Come to us, we will help you with that. And don't neglect your end game, rewarding your seasonal workers. This goes back to the loyalty. This goes back to people that come back and see you, every year they come back for that seasonal work. Consider rewarding them, financially, monetarily, give them a little bump up, maybe give them perks, maybe give them an extra vacation day or days, hopefully, that your newer seasonal employees may not have. So it gives them something to sort of work toward, be like, I've been here this long. I'm getting something out of it. It's almost like you're incentivizing your employees to stay for longer. So don't lose sight of that. You want your employees to stay happy, and you want to reward them, and they're rewarded. They're going to be happier and more loyal in all likelihood as well. Okay, inventory and sales. So you're going to end up potentially having inventory that just doesn't move for whatever reason, and you don't want to necessarily bring it around to the following season. You can recoup, go to the next one. You can recoup some of that money by selling materials, even if it's at a loss, just to cash out those items. And you can go to the next one. You can offer them at a steep discount, because again, you don't want stuff sitting around. You don't want people coming in and being like, oh, I saw this at the beginning of the summer. Why is this still here? You want things to be fresh, so that when clients come in, they can see, what's fresh, what's new, what's the latest and greatest that's coming in. You don't want to keep inventory around. You want it to be as close to zero at the end of the season, even if you're taking it at a loss. Things that you can do to sort of move that stuff that wasn't moving for whatever reason is to create a call to action. And a call to action is kind of gives an incentive for your potential customer or customers to purchase that. So, you'll get 50% off Easter decorations if Easter has passed. So you can move it, and, everything must go by such and such a date. So a call to action gives the customer, potential customer, a reason to come in and purchase quickly, because you're going to end up wanting to move that stuff. Okay, you can move on to the next one. Okay, marketing in and off season. I talked about this a little bit with a newsletter, maybe discounting gift cards, keeping in touch with them throughout the slower season, being proactive. We're reaching out to them and building anticipation and excitement. Hey, summer's coming. We're getting ready to put in our plans. I'm using the flower example before. Here's things that you can do to make sure your soil is ready before you put your annuals in, or here's things you need to do to keep your perennials really healthy. So you want to give the client not only kind of, hey, I'm here, don't forget about us, come and shop, but give them a little bit of education, give them a little bit of information that will help them be a more informed consumer. And committing to social media is part of that as well. I'm hoping all of you that are here have a social media plan. Depending on your marketplace is going to determine, which social mediums are going to make more sense for you. I would imagine most of you have a Facebook page. Many of you may have an Instagram page. Go beyond that and have a TikTok. Whatever you do with your social media and your website, your branding is really important. When I mean branding, I'm talking about your logo, your font, your use of color. You don't want to change it around too much, because when people see your logo, they have an expectation. They're like, oh, okay, ABC Nursery. I know that is, there may be a little flower on the logo, but if you keep changing it, people might be confused. So consistency is key. And in marketing branding, it takes an average of 7 times for someone to see a brand or a logo before they recognize it and then say, oh, okay, that's a consistent brand. I know that they're a good brand. They're reliable. They're somebody I can go to because I know their reputation is good. If you think of the most powerful brands in the world, if you think about things like the Nike swoosh, the Target bullseye, the McDonald's golden arches, the Apple, they haven't changed much throughout the years. And many times you don't even see words on them. You may just see the logo. So you want to be readily recognizable, so that when people see it, they're like, oh yeah, ABC Nursery, that reminds me, I need to go get some annuals next week, because I'm going to be ready to plan. Creative with promotions, perhaps slot time to slower days or hours. So you could have something for many restaurants. We'll do like a 2 for Tuesday, or kids might eat free on Monday if they're open on Mondays, or free appetizers during happy hours during the slower times. So it's all about bringing in traffic for times where cash is just sort of trickling through. And the name of the game is to have it flow through really steadily and really readily. And then rewards programs. So we all have benefited from rewards programs. If you buy a certain amount, you get another one complimentary. I happen to like, by the way, the word complimentary more than the word free. The word free, sometimes when you think about it, it's sort of cheapens the value of whatever's being offered, whereas the word complimentary sounds a lot more professional. So I'm a bigger fan of that word if you happen to be, using rewards and you're going to be giving something away at no cost. I believe complimentary is a more powerful word. Can move on. Customer database. We all have done that, hey, give us your email and your contact information. We'll give you something in return with 10% off, complimentary, whatever. And this helps build your database. So this is how you're going to send out your newsletters and letting people know what's going on in the slow season. You can consider using an email marketing service. There are many different packages out there. We can help you choose one. Some of them are quite affordable. Others may be quite expensive. You're going to tend to be busy with the business of the business. And sometimes it's good to outsource these services and get people to do them for you so they look professional and they're done correctly and they won't forget. Call to action, I mentioned that already. It's incentivization. So always on the call to action, give that person a reason, whether it's a complimentary such and such or a certain percent off on a product or service. And always, always, always give an expiration date. If you don't give an expiration date, people are like, oh, sure, I'll go there in 6 months. Whereas if they have an expiration date, you want it to generally be within 60 to 90 days. People are like, oh gosh, I have to use this by, the end of the month. Otherwise, I'm gonna miss out on getting this reward. And people don't like, missing out on the rewards. They like to know that they're getting something in return. We talked about it, staying in touch with your customers throughout the year. Yeah, we talked about all that already, so we can move on. Managing stress. So we all have stress. It's really easy to get stressed out when things aren't going to plan, which Willa mentioned. This is why you want to plan. It's not the sexiest thing to do, like she said, but it's something that's incredibly important because, the old adage, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. How can you manage your stress levels? Here are some tactics that we have here. You can keep going. Staying calm and focused. It's much easier said than done, obviously. But you're going to want to figure out a way that helps you manage your stress. And some things you might want to do is create a list for certain days of the week. Okay, on this day of the week, I'm going to check in with my suppliers. On this day of the week, I'm going to check in with my social media plan. If you have something planned out, that's going to help you manage your stress. Why you're going to have Monday morning, oh my gosh, I have so much to do. How am I going to do everything? Well, on Monday, I'm going to check in with my social media plan. Tuesday, I'm going to check in with my suppliers. On Wednesday, I'm going to do a quick inventory check. Thursday, I'm going to check in with my employees. They're going to tell me what's moving better, what's not, what people are asking for that maybe I don't have, so I can add it. And take breaks if you need it. It's okay to take a break. You don't have to be, involved in the business 24/7, 365. Like Willa said, as the business grows and evolves, it's going to grow and evolve, and eventually it's going to be something that's self-sustaining, and it's going to be sort of like a machine that's going to be able to operate on its own. You want to be around to make sure the machine is fed well and is working well and is healthy. But you don't have to be hovering it over. If you have your good people, if you have your systems in place, if you have sort of those plans that you have where you create those goals, where you decide on such and such a day what those responsibilities are, it's going to be okay, and it's going to help mitigate those stress levels. And then, are you ready? What's going on with the business? Signage, like Willa said, and that's happened to me as well. I've seen, signage that'll be like completely out of date. They're like, oh, well, that was from the summer. Oh, well, but it's October now. So you want to make sure you check in with what's going on with your signage. If the shoulder season, your hours change, make sure your customers know that the hours change, not just on your brick and mortar signage, but on your website and on your socials as well. Check in with your capital and cash flow to make sure you have reserve. This is something that Willa went over. And this, again, is something that if you come down and sit with one of us, one of the advisors, we can help create this with you. But having a cushion is always a good thing. Keep your space, looking appropriate. If St. Patrick's Day has passed, don't necessarily put that at the front of the store. Make sure there is a call to action so people come in, so you clear out that inventory, but keep it fresh. What's going on with the next season. Make sure that those are the things at the forefront of the store. Make sure the shop is clean as well. Delegate those responsibilities to the employees. Again, this is going back to having a manual so they know what tasks they're responsible for. So if it's rotating, if, employee A is supposed to check in the bathroom on Tuesday, employee B is supposed to check in on Wednesday and Thursday. Make sure people know, never assume anything. And keep it clean and keep it tidy, because people do notice. Your website, make sure it's easy to navigate. If you're e-tailing, selling things on your website, your contact info, shopping cart, appointment schedule. And as far as e-tailing, if you are selling things on your website, there are many different packages. There are many different services that offer, merchant account services for your website, so that people can pay either by a credit card or via something like PayPal or Venmo, and they can help incorporate that into your website. And we can help review that with you as well. Social media posting strategy, again, making sure your branding is consistent. How many days a week are you going to post? You don't post so much that people think you're doing nothing but sitting on your social media, but you want to be relevant. You want to make sure that people know that you're around, you're in business, people are coming to you. If you're posting and you're showing people, in the store, in the restaurant, try to show it when it's full, so that people know that, you're busy. It's the busy season, people are coming in. If you have a theme, use of color, use of music, use of any kind of filters, you want it to be kind of, consistent. And just make sure that if anything that you do on social media, if you're doing like a giveaway or like a contest or anything like that, a tip I like to give my clients is, if you're going to do a contest, make sure that you have your followers repost you either in their story or create a repost. Ask them to tag friends, however many, usually 3 is a good number. Ask their friends to also follow you. So this way, in addition to, keeping your social media posts fresh and robust and current, you're increasing your following too. So that's a good tip and trick as well. Promotionals, we sort of talked about, punch cards, rewards programs, staffing. Do you have enough? This goes back to checking in to planning, how many are you going to need full-time year round? How many are you going to need through your shoulder season? How many are you going to need throughout sort of your slower season? Staff training, start with smiles. It's a little bit of an inside joke. Our annual training is called staff training. Start with smiles, go back to that manual, make sure that your employees have something that they can refer back to. So if there's any questions that come up that's unclear, they can refer back to the manual, and they can also refer back to that trainer that you're going to have that can recognize any issues there may be for their employee. And obviously make sure your employees also can feel comfortable coming to you if they have any questions or concerns as well, for any potential HR issues. And then being connected in your communities. There's local chambers of commerce that you want to be involved in. Those are sort of things that may meet in person. Some of them are meeting virtually as well, but there's also local organizations that may meet online. There are, Facebook groups that you can connect with. Other sort of groups that you might want to connect with is industry groups that might be relevant to the business that you're in, or there may be also networking groups like there's one that's called LitTip that's based on, geographically where you are. You could find out where your latest LitTip is. You can meet with other business owners, can kind of spread the word that, you're single, you're in your busy season, you want clients, to come to us or to come to you. So you want to touch, as many different potential referral bases as possible. Okay. And then let's talk about your business. So this is our contact information. Come and see us. This is what we do. We help people help their businesses grow and evolve. I know that the cash flow portion of it, the numbers portion of it can be very intimidating. Willa did a great job reviewing that. It's not difficult. You do not have to be a CPA to review it. And we're here to help you with that or any other of your seasonal business issues that you may have. And yeah, that's everything. And I'll let Willa chime back in as well.
Yes, I am assuming that was great. Thank you very much, Ree. And we ran through a lot of things. Each one is very, very important for a seasonal business. And the most important thing is to make the most of this time. It's really important. And what comes to mind sometimes is like OCD. You're like every detail and everything has to be perfect, but it doesn't. It goes through. But if you do this planning and kind of put some time in to think about it and to develop a good strategy, it'll roll out much more smoothly. And I can't get back to the staffing enough, because your staff is your business. So it's really important that they represent you in the best way possible. And look at those reviews online. Can't say that enough. And the promos are great. I love being able to feel like a part of a community when I'm with a business. As a business owner, you want to check in with your people and poll them and see how they feel about your business and make adjustments as you go forward, and be that person that stands out, that really cares about the customer's point of view. I think that sometimes is missing. And in the seasonal business, you get a lot of people coming from the outside in, right? So the locals understand that what we call the summer people, if they are coming in, and there is sometimes a sense that they feel entitled, that they're spending a lot of money to be out there, and they expect a certain service level. And service isn't hard. It's just a matter of attention to detail. So I grew up in West Hampton. I know all about the summer people, and it's an important time of year, and everybody really appreciates the business owners that understand how important it is to treat this time of year as very important and special, and make people feel valued and appreciated. That's really the magic gold that I would share.
Okay.
I think there was another question, Ronnie.
I didn't see any other questions. Let me
Yes,
just look
from
and see.
Laurie. Ree, can you go over the call to action? Sure, of course. So a call to action, it's sort of a marketing, it's a marketing term, promotional term. What it is a call to action is a kind of what the business puts out there that gives the action, is a reason for the client or customer to come in. Hey, we're open for the season. Come in, any time during the month of April, and buy one cone and get one cone complimentary, or something like that. That's a call to action, but that's only good for the month of April. So that's the action is getting the people to come in. And if they come in, they get that complimentary additional ice cream cone. You can use the call to action on your social media. You can use it, on your website. You can even, for your brick and mortar, for your actual shop, you can put in a little sign saying, for the month, it helps, because cash probably sort of just trickles through in April. So it'll help it kind of flow a little more steadily. Don't give away the farm. Just give away enough that the cash flow that's going to come in as a result will compensate for what you're sort of giving away, because it can be a fine line, and we can help you figure out what that is.
I'm also thinking of Carvel, which is a big ice cream store that does a lot of call to action. So they have a buy one, get one free on Wednesdays, and, certain things throughout that get people in there. They have certain flavors that are only available at certain times. So you can also tie it to holidays, right? We've got right now St. Patrick's Day, so definitely have some green options. Green ice cream of different types, pistachio and mint and all that. I'm sure I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but all of those are called to action, because they expire when the holiday's over, right? So
call to actions during holidays, yeah, Willa brings a great point. Anything that's holiday or anything that's seasonally relevant are great, because people are looking forward to the spring or St. Patrick's Day or Easter or Mother's Day. So people are like, oh yeah, this is cool. I'll get St. Patrick's Day, it's green, I'll get, so it helps people, helps catch their eye. Always make sure it's finite. Always make sure that clients know that. So they aren't like, oh, well, I thought I could buy one, get one free, and they show up in July. Just make sure they know it's for a finite amount of time.
And I can also say that every single day of the year seems to be some special day. Like, you talk about, well, I'm a lefty, so I know that there's a left-handers day, there's a son's day, there's all of those things. So if you're looking for why you should offer some special discount or whatever, gift certificate, it can be for a special day that happens every single day of the year.
It's like Grandparents' Day. That's Hallmark created that just to create another
Of
day
course.
when you could buy gifts. So absolutely. In fact, there's radio stations that when you sign on, they'll say today is something day, some odd.
Dog Lovers Day.
Yes, exactly. So
Take advantage of the Hallmark holidays.
right, new season day.
No, but you can make it your, just make it a reason to offer something is what I was thinking.
Right, names that start with A. Yeah,
Anything.
and get all and then take a picture.
Anything. This was all recorded, so if you want to share this with anyone or look at it again, it's available. I think
Thank you
that
very
you're going
much.
to all receive a follow-up email. I should mention that too. Please fill out the survey that you get. Please, please, please. It really does help us. Thank
Okay,
you,
well,
everyone.
Thank you, everyone, and we will see you soon. Hopefully, please check out our event website. We have a lot of great workshops coming up, and we'll talk to you soon.